All right, so here we have a 2008 Landrover LR2. This is a customer complaining that it's overheating during the checkout process. We figure out that the fan is not coming on. So we're going to go ahead and replace the fan now. To replace the fan kind of takes a lot of work to get in here. We're going to have to remove our intake manifold box just to be able to get a good view in there. So what we'll do now is we'll remove that intake manifold. All right, so we need to go down below and release the intake manifold where the throttle body is connected. All right, so we're going to go ahead and remove our cover here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and remove the skid plate right here so we get some more hand access in there for the intake. All right, so we have the bottom of our intake manifold. We have two bolts, 8mm. We'll go ahead and take those out. All right, so now we're going to remove the hose clamp for the intake manifold to the throttle body. All right, so we're going to go ahead and disconnect this connector here for the map sensor. All right, had the top of it right here. We just pushed this down to release it. All right, so now we're going to pull our intake tube out. All right, so we have a couple more wires. So we have the throttle body, and then also looks like maybe evaporative emission solenoid and stuff down there. We're going to go ahead and just release that solenoid out of the mount there. Okay, so I'm just going to release the hold down for the solenoid. I'm not going to do any disconnecting of the wire or the tube. I'm just trying to give it a little free movement. All right. Fuel pressure sensor. I'll go ahead and take that off the fuel rail. All right, so now we have a couple bolts where the manifold attaches to the cylinder head. All right, so now we should have the intake loose. We still have some wires connected for the throttle body. All right, so on the solenoid, the evap solenoid, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect just one side of the line. All right, so now we're just going to try to wiggle the manifold, see what else we have that might be connected to it. All right, so we have the throttle body itself, that connector, we need to remove that one. All right, so we're going to go ahead and release this coolant line here. All right, so it's looking like we're going to have to move the power steering off to the side, this hose bracket, the fan controller, and then that should give us enough room to get the intake manifold. So we'll go ahead and start doing that now. We're just all right, so we have some more connectors over here. All right, so we're going to remove these two connectors here. Wow. All right, so we'll lift it out real slow just in case we have other stuff connected. And there's the other side to the evaporative solenoid. We'll just go ahead and do the connector on this one now. You can see where that was mounted that we took before. Okay. All right, so now we have the intake manifold out of the way. We can see the fan. This is what we were after. All right, so we're going to go ahead and remove the fan. Now, according to the service manual, the compressor needs to be belt off. Compressor needs to be loosened up. The compressor needs to be up out of the way to be able to remove this fan. So we're going to try to not touch so much stuff. I mean, we're in it pretty good for touching a lot of stuff for doing a fan. So we're going to try to do this first without removing and any of the AC stuff. All right, so looks like for this fan, we just pick it up and then push it back. Looks like it's just in some like a receiver tabs. Go ahead and remove this cable. This is the power coming in. We'll get that from the back. All right, so to remove the fan, we need to pull it up before we can get it out. And the top mount has little latches on it. So what we need to do is we need to push it back far enough to release it. All right, so we release that one. Now I'll do the other side. Okay. All right, so we have the fan released. All right, so we need to, we have a couple of fastener tabs. Oh, they don't pop through, okay. All right, we're gonna loosen this right here. The power steering line going back, it's on a bracket. We're gonna go ahead and remove that bracket. All right, so now we have that bracket loose. So with good reason, the manual says remove the compressor. Doesn't look like we can get it out any other way, so we'll go ahead and remove the compressor. All right, so in order to get the compressor off, we have to take the belt off. We have the tensioner located way down there. So what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna use a 19mm wrench on one of the dimples there. So I'll go ahead and sneak it back here. All right, so now we can push down on it. And all right. All right, so now you're going to remove the two lower bolts holding the compressor in. So we have the compressor clutch wire here. And then we have a low pressure switch. And the wiring harness. All right, so now we should be able to pull our fan out nice and easy. Jesus. Pretty tight fit. All right. All right, so here we have our new fan from Auto Parts Direct to You, and we have the original fan. So looking at it, the only real difference is how this is mounted. It could be mounted here on this one, and it has the availability to put it back over here. So that's the only real difference between the two. We're gonna see if it'll stay in this spot Remember, because we had to remove it from this spot to get the intake off, so maybe this is a better placement. Not sure why it was available there on the original, but we'll see how it fits. We can always move it around to how we like it. There is another option with this vehicle. Yeah, we'll remove this one, old one. If your vehicle is heavy duty cooling, you'll have the availability to have a dual fan. It's just not used on the single fan, but this is the heavy duty cooling package option. It's also available through Auto Parts Direct to You, but this will be the one that we're going to install today. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and reinstall our new cooling fan and get it all into place before we start, attacking. We're going to go ahead and where we kind of held off for more parts is we're going to replace this belt. This is the original belt to this vehicle and it's starting to crack. We already have everything disassembled, so this should be pretty easy part of the procedure. We're going to do a new tensioner. The reason we're going to do a new tensioner is that one was a really stiff, and then the return for it is not really in the same spot that would be easy to get to. So we're going to go ahead and put the fan in now. Wow. This thing is not the funnest thing. All right, so we want to set it down in our lower slots. And then push straight down. All right, so now we're all mounted up. All right, so now we're going to go take the belt tensioner off now and replace the belt. All right, so I'm going to remove the tensioner. We have one 10 millimeter bolt here, but I need to get my wrench there for releasing it out. So I'm going to have to. All right, so now we'll go ahead and remove the mounting bolt. All right, so we just want to make sure we do remember how the belt goes on, so just want to take note of that. Getting the belt off of the power steering pulley, the clearance is, yeah, we're going to have to remove the battery so we can loosen up the power steering so we can slip the belt off. So we'll go ahead and remove the battery now. All right, so we'll go ahead and remove the 3 bolts on the bottom of the battery tray. All right, so here's the power steering pump we were talking about. There's no room to sneak the belt around, so we're going to have to pop it up out of place there. And so we're going to go ahead and remove these 2 10 millimeters. All right, we're going to do the back one. All right, so there's a 10 millimeter on the base there. There's another one there on the other side. All right, so we have 2 10 millimeters hidden on the bottom side. All right, so now that we got the bottom bolts somewhat loose, you can see now so we're going to have to take the bolts all the way out to be able to get the belt behind here. All right, so we got our rear bracket off. All right, so trying to get this belt off, it looks like we're going to have to remove these 2 Torx. There's one here, and then if we rotate it, there's another one. All right, so we're going to go ahead and remove these 2 Torx. They are, see if I can get you a size on it. All right, I think this is a oh, there it is, T25. So we're using a T25. All right, so that removed us. We were on, that's what this was connected to. And there's a spring also there. How that. So now we can snake the belt out. So this spring, let's see. Oh, here we go. I can remove the whole thing. All right, so we're gonna have to figure out where the position of this was. And I say that, so this is what we were fighting. So those were our two little bolts were right there. So what we need to do is we're gonna have to figure out where this was held in on that bracket before we go ahead and put it. We're gonna have to just do a little thinking here and see if we can find out where it goes. Okay, so after some research on this part, so basically what we're looking at is this: power steering pump, water pump, coupler. So this would be how the water pump is driven. So we see these two ears, then we have a plate. There's a pin right here on this plate. There's actually two pins, but this one's too small. This one is just the right size. There's actually another one on the other side. Same kind of deal. So what we want to do is this spring needs to go into that hole, and then this will couple around the base of the pump and then be reattached back to the power steering pump pulley itself. So we're going to go ahead and put the belt in, then we're going to wrestle with this piece and actually getting the pump back in. But that's basically what we're looking at and what we're trying to achieve here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just slip the belt. This is the reason why we had to take all this off. So we just want to slip the belt in so it's around the pump before we even get started here. Just trying to give myself some working room. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get our coupler back in there. Okay. All right, so there you can see we have our pin in. It kind of wobbled as it went in, but it does work its way through. We want to make sure that we have the base of the spring seated to the water pump so that it's not cocked or at any kind of crazy angle, so that our alignment is good. We got the two post pins right here at the base of the pulley. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put our screws back in just finger tight right now. we have both bolts. They're not tight yet. We're going to go ahead and fit the bracket that was on the back first before we make our final tightening there, just in case we have to wiggle it a little bit. All right, so we're going to go ahead and reattach our rear bracket. All right, so now we'll go back and we got our bracket on the back. We'll go ahead and tighten up our bottom mounts now. All right, so now we'll go ahead and tighten up our Torx bits. Okay. All right, so we have everything there done. Now we're going to go ahead and put our tensioner back on. All right, so here we have our new tensioner from Auto Parts Direct to You. Go ahead and install it now. All right, so we're going to be on that pulley, under this pulley, around this one, down here, and then the compressor will be right here. All right, so we'll go ahead and tighten our tensioner down. All right, we're all in the grooves here and there. Now we'll go ahead and we should be ready to bring our compressor back over. Oh, we do have one more mounting. We'll go ahead and take care of that right now. We'll just kind of leave that one there for now. We'll come back for that, just in case we have to reroute a wire for some reason. All right, so now we just want to release our tensioner. Go ahead and pull out. Maybe. Wow. Yeah, it has to. You should just be able to pull that out. That's the lock to set it. All right. All right, so we should have a tight belt now. We just want to make sure we're in the grooves everywhere. All right. All right, so in an attempt to not have any leftover bolts, looks like we forgot this bracket here, so we need to remove this bolt. All right, so now we're going to make a couple connections to our wires. The first one is we want to hook our compressor back up. All right, so this fan controller was the one mounted down low. We're going to try to put the intake in now. My only thought would be that the air snorkel is going to be in the way, but we'll see how that plays out. But we're going to try to leave it there. We'll go ahead and plug it in. All right, so we're going to go ahead and connect this one now. Remember, it is a little different than it was mounted there, so we want to route all of our slack off to the side there. We'll fasten it down once we know that this is going to be an acceptable spot for it. We'll go ahead and leave it just like that for now. All right, so we have a couple connectors for the throttle body, the purge, map sensor. All right, just kind of get everything out of the way. The vehicle we did not finish in one day, it stayed the night. I put things in the intake runner there, paper towel, just to make sure that nothing mysteriously gets in there. But these would be the couple of connections we have to make under there. Throttle body, evap purge, map sensor, some kind of runner control. All right, so we'll go ahead and put this down and get it into position. Go ahead and put a couple bolts in the intake manifold just to get it stationary. All right, so it looks like, yeah, it looks pretty good. It looks like we're going to have good clearance. I just want to test fit. Just want to make sure. All right. All right, so we'll go ahead and keep going with leaving the controller mounted in that spot there. Go ahead and finish putting the intake on now. Coolant line was like that. Our fuel pressure sensor. I'm just trying to fish our connectors for the runner controls and map sensor. All right, so they are indexed. If you were wondering like which one goes to which, you can see they're reverse checked. So they have these little notches. They're opposite of each other. So if it doesn't fit on one, it's going to fit on the other, but you can't mix them up. So we want to make our connection back to our purge valve. All right, and then we had our throttle body connection. We're going to have to do the throttle body from below also. We have our coolant. We're going to get our coolant back on. All right, we want to put our hold down clamp back. And this is for our mass air. All right, so we just have those connections down below, and then putting our air intake tube. So what I'm going to do is, instead of putting the air intake tube in and fighting around it, I'm going to go ahead and put the car in the air, make those connections, lower it again, put the snorkel in, and then go back under and tighten that part up. So kind of a two-step, same deal. All right, so we'll go ahead and make the throttle body connection. It's going to be right behind this hose here. All right, we'll just push till we hear that click. We have our two lower bolts we want to do for our intake manifold. And we have our connector right here for our map sensor. All right, so we have the one more connector. Looks like I see where it needs to go. I can't reach it from here, but we'll get that one on the top side. All right, so we have everything done here. So what we need to do is sneak the air cleaner down, the air snorkel. And now we know that everything is good. We'll go ahead and tighten this wire mount up, hose mount. All right, so go ahead and place our snorkel tube back in. All right, is that how we were? All right, so we're going to be somewhere like that. We'll go ahead and put the clamp on from below. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and put a hose clamp around this guy because okay, so we're going to go ahead and put our covers on now while we're underneath it. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and put our battery box and battery back in. Our connection for the mass airflow. All right, so now we're all back together. We'll go ahead and start it up, let the engine warm up, check for the fan to come on, and then we're ready for a test drive.